Hey folks, in this video I'm going to show you how to configure an elastic ease. We'll change the frequency and the amplitude, and I'll explain to you exactly what those things mean. Let's go. Alright, first let's take a look at the basic syntax. Typically you're just going to use elastic as a string here, but for advanced usages we can take this string and format it like a function and pass in an amplitude parameter and a frequency parameter. The first parameter, amplitude, is going to affect the strength of the overshoot. The second parameter, the frequency, is going to affect how many wiggles back and forth we have. Generally speaking, the smaller the frequency, the more wiggling we're going to have. Let me just comment out this code because it's not actually what the visualizer is using. And let's go for a run and I'll show you what happens when we affect those values. Here we have an elastic ease with a very low amplitude. Let's crank the amplitude up. And now you're going to see that each character goes up higher than its final resting value, and the amplitude allows it to go up much, much higher. Now, there isn't a lot of wiggling going on here. It just sort of goes up and comes down. It's almost like a back ease. But what I'm going to do is bring the frequency down a bit, and now you can see it's really elastic. So as that frequency gets smaller, we're going to have a lot more waves, and it's really kind of crazy. For something like that, maybe you bring the duration up, and whoa, it's just like a wiggly snake. Now, what would a visualizer be without my secret Easter egg? Boom, ease graph, all right? So here you can see the amplitude is so high that the path is going way out of view, and there's all these different wiggles. So let me bring the amplitude down a little bit, and as I bring the frequency up, there you go. That's sort of like the default setting. So maybe I'd come down around here, give me just a little bit more wiggle. Now, as the duration goes down, you're going to get a different effect too. It's going to come in quicker, obviously. And as you give yourself more time, it looks nice and wavy. So obviously you can see that there's a wide range of settings that you can have, which ultimately gives you a ton of control. So I'm going to give you guys this visualizer, play around with it, and use it whenever you want to configure your elastic ease. Alrighty folks, here's a little bonus tip, alright? Here's the actual tween that drives the visualizer. You'll see for the ease, I'm using these template literals here that are pulling the amplitude and frequency values from my little sliders. But here, I changed it so that the opacity is part of the tween. And my tip to you is do not use opacity when you're using an elastic ease. And you'll see why, because I'm going to bring the amplitude up a little bit and the frequency down. And what you're going to see if I slow this down is that the text is actually going to be fading out, all right? You know, maybe that's what you want. I don't know, but it gives you a cool effect. But most of the time it's going to be annoying if, you know, the text is fading in and out because the elastic ease is shooting the opacity value way above 0 and then down below 1. So to get around that, what I suggest is that you just create a separate animation for the opacity. And in the case of a staggered animation like this, you just want to make sure that the stagger amount of the opacity matches the stagger amount in your tween for the other properties. Animation is a timeline, and I'm using a position parameter of 0 so that they start at the same time. So now let me just run this, and what you're going to see now is that once the text fades in, it stays at full opacity. We'll crank that amplitude up, bring the frequency down, and you'll see now that the text never fades out, okay? So just a little bonus tip, have fun.